Why is the 48 Laws of Power banned in most U.S. prisons? This is a book that was written by Robert Greene, who also authored The 33 Strategies of War, The 50th Law with 50 Cent, The Art of Seduction, and The Laws of Human Nature. And all of his books are actually banned in the majority of U.S. prisons. So this book is about power. It's about getting power. It's about keeping power, it's about taking power from other people, and it's about using power to get what you want out of life. This book has been criticized very heavily. It's been used by, politicians. It's been compared to Machiavelli's The Prince. And I actually read this book twice. The first time I read it, I was in prison. I was on a 4-yard actually. And the reason I read the book was because I knew it was banned. So it had that little bit of taboo. I had a friend who had a copy of the book. In prison, whenever a book is banned, what we usually do is we take off the cover, and then we'll just put another cover over the top so it looks like it's something else. And I decided to read it. I was probably 20 years old at the time. I was just starting my prison sentence. And to be honest, I probably wasn't old enough or mature enough to really use any of the knowledge or anything I read from the book. I just simply wanted to read it because I knew that it was banned. Now, prison administration believes that inmates will use this book to manipulate or control other inmates or guards. So a couple examples of this happening are maybe a new inmate gets to prison and a more experienced inmate talks that new inmate into smuggling drugs from one side of the yard to another side of the yard, maybe getting the new inmate's family to bring him drugs into visitation, or maybe they talk a guard into bringing them a cell phone. So keep in mind, this type of stuff happens all the time in prison. Guards do not make a lot of money. Your guards on average are making 17, 18 bucks an hour, which is not a lot of money. And in prison, a cell phone is $500 to $1,000. So when you've got a guard that's struggling to pay bills and an inmate approaches them and says, hey, look, bring me 2 cell phones and I'll get you $1,200, that's a rent payment to a guard. And the guards can be talked into doing that type of thing. So prison administration, they look at books like this and they want to prevent cell phones from getting into prisons. They want to prevent drugs from getting into prisons. And they look at a book like this and they think that a book like this will help the inmates, if not motivate the inmates to try to manipulate guards, manipulate inmates. So in my opinion, do I think this book should be banned? No, I really don't think the majority of inmates are smart enough, in all honesty, to use a book like this. I know I definitely wasn't when I was 20 years old and I was just starting my sentence. I think that manipulation is extremely common in prisons already. And I mean, you see it all the time. You see inmates trying to talk other inmates into doing just the dumbest shit ever. In fact, I remember when I first got to Steiner, which is a 3-yard in Buckeye, I had an OG. He came up to me and he told me that he was filing taxes for a lot of the other inmates. And what he would do is have his girlfriend go online, file my taxes, get me a tax return, and I would get back, $500, $600, $700, even though I had been incarcerated for the last 2 or 3 years. And I remember thinking, I knew, obviously this is illegal. And I obviously haven't been working, I haven't been paying taxes, so filing my taxes is obviously illegal. And if I get caught, I'm going to end up getting more time. And if I get another 3 years, is that really worth me getting $500 put on my books? So I was, smart enough to tell him no. But there were a lot of other youngsters that OG, talked into doing this for, and he was getting all of their taxes done. And this was about, I was maybe 3 years into my sentence. I was on Steiner, so this was in probably 2010. So 14 years ago? And I don't know if this racket still even exists, but I'm sure he was making a lot of money. And if, anybody ever got caught, I have no idea. I just know that I didn't do it. And I know that he really tried to talk me into giving him my social security, giving him my address, whatever, my birthday, whatever personal information he needed to file my taxes so I could get some money and he could get some money back. So the truth is, most inmates are not that bright, right? And you can usually see manipulation coming from a mile away. When somebody needs you to bring something back from visitation, or somebody needs you to do this, or somebody needs you to do that, at the end of the day, everybody is looking out for their own interests. That's why it's a little bit better just to, stick to yourself. Going back to the book, like I said, I read it twice. I read it while I was in prison, and then once I got out of prison, I decided to read it again. I'm in sales and I'm a business owner, so I feel that it applies a little bit more directly to my life than maybe it does to other people's lives. For example, law number 4 is always say less than necessary. And this is something we use in sales. In fact, we see new sales guys talk too much and lose sales by doing that, whereas more experienced salespeople, they only say what they need to say, and that is how we close deals. So at the end of the day, it's just a book. What a person chooses to do with that knowledge is up to them. If somebody's going to do something nefarious, they're going to do it with the book or without the book. If somebody's going to do something positive, they're going to do it with the book or without the book. If anybody's interested in reading the book, maybe I'll make more videos on other books that are banned in prison, because there are a lot of books that are banned in prison. This just happens to be the most popular book that's banned in prison. But if you guys like content about this type of stuff, subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I appreciate everybody who tunes in for these videos, and let me know in the comments what kind of content you guys want to see in the future. Thanks.